Hi guys, happy Monday evening. It is Monday, September 8th. I'm doing my call from my car tonight because that's mom life. Sometimes you're doing, school drop or activity drop-offs and things like that, but we're making it happen. And I have my notes here on my phone. I'm very excited to chat with you guys tonight. Hi, my name is Alex Gonzalez now, um, NVP and independent consultant with Arbonne, and here are my notes. Okay. I'll tell you like a really brief story for those of you that don't know me. I started my business with Arbonne about 11 years ago. And at the time, my son was about a year and a half old. Prior to Arbonne, I had been in pharmaceutical sales and medical device sales, which was a lucrative industry to be in. And it was great for a lot of reasons while I did it. I loved the income I made. I secretly wondered what was I going to do when I had a family and when I had kids, and I wasn't really sure. And the decision got made for me when I got laid off when I was 5 months pregnant. And I didn't know anything about Arbonne at that time, but what I did know, that was an inflection point for me. And what I did realize was that, wow, I don't really want to put my future in somebody else's hands. Like, it wasn't the security that I thought it was to be employed traditionally. There's a lot of things about that can be secure, but it wasn't as secure as I thought, because I did get laid off when I was, weirdly let go when I was 5 months pregnant. It ended up being a blessing in disguise. And long story short, it led me to Arbonne. And at first, I did not think the opportunity was for me at all. I totally had a chip on my shoulder. I had an ego. I'm just going to be honest. And so, for those of you that can see people that maybe have this ego, like, just keep loving on them and working on them and like dripping on them, because I totally thought like, oh, I'm too good for this, and I have this degree and I had that job or whatever. But what I finally came to see was that Arbonne was the vehicle to let me be able to have like more, bring in an income that could be very generous and that could match or exceed what I had previously been making. And it gave me the flexibility to stay home with my son. So fortunately, I've been able to stay home with him. He turned 13 last week. And let me tell you, moms of babies, the time you want to be home and around is the teen and tween years. Like, holy crap, like, it is no joke. I don't want to go, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole, but I thought it was important that I was home when he was like a year and a half to 3 years old. I think I'm doing more momming right now than I ever have been in my life. Okay, so but there was lots of twists and turns. There were lots of ups and downs in my journey, but I just always held on to the fact that if I saw somebody else successful in Arbonne, like if I saw anybody else doing it, I immediately thought, well, if she can do it, I can do it. And I just always use that evidence as proof that it could be done. And if it could be done by anybody, then it could be done. If it could be done by one person, it could be done by anybody, right? Like, and that person could be me. So I jumped in with 2 feet. I, stayed true to the process. I went to we used to have car parties like every other weekend. I went to every meeting. I showed up on every call. I did all the things. And my trajectory of my growth in this business was not like a straight shot up. There was lots of stalls, or like times when I felt stuck, or even felt like I was going backwards. But I hung on to that vision. And so I wanted to share with you some things that I'm really like taking to heart to myself right now in the season that I'm in. And I hope that it inspires you in your journey and gives you, the mindset shifts that you need to actually get into action and activity that we know we need to be in order to move the needle of this business. On the drive here, actually, my son said something about, like, he said, he was telling his teacher that he's really disorganized. And I said, why would you say that about yourself? Now, is he the most organized person? No, he's definitely not. That's not his strong suit, being organized. But I said, don't say that about yourself. I said, whatever you say about yourself, you are listening to yourself more than anybody else. And if you say things like, I'm disorganized, and like negative things about yourself, your mind would rather be right. Our minds are very self-righteous. We like to be right, and we would rather be right than successful sometimes. So if you know your mind just wants to be right, what is a true statement that you could say that is going to shift things in a positive, yeah, you become a self-fulfilling prophecy for yourself. So what is something that you could say? And he was being a grumpy teenager and he was like, well, I don't know. And I said, well, if you did know, what would it be? And he was like, I don't know. And I said, do you want to take your phone to your class right now? And he did. So he came up with something and I had to threaten him, right? But he said, I'm learning to be more organized. And I was like, yes, okay. So I don't care if you're a consultant right now. I don't care if you're a district manager, area manager. I don't care if you've been a consultant for 25 years. You've never promoted once. I don't care. What is the story you're telling yourself? What is the talk you're telling yourself? What are you saying to yourself? And you need to shift it to be something positive. So you can't just I told him, you can't just say like I'm very organized, because his mind is not going to believe that, because that doesn't feel true to him. So it has to be something that feels true to you. So like I'm learning to be more organized. I'm becoming more organized every day. I'm getting better. I'm getting a little bit better every day, at whatever it is. Okay. So really learn to take radical responsibility for everything in your life. You are where you are a lot of time. Okay, I'm going to say this with a caveat. Generically speaking, you are where you are because of the choices that you've made in your life. Now, does that mean there's no such thing as a lucky break? Absolutely not. Does that mean that you are responsible for the abuse you've received or, the bad things that have happened to you? Absolutely not. However, we are responsible for how we respond to those things. We all have bad things happen to us. We all have negative things happen to us. Is this better with no glasses? Okay. So we all have hard things happen to us, and we get to choose, we get to decide, how are we going to respond to that? Okay. So when you take radical responsibility for your life, when I say radical responsibility, it means like unreasonable amounts of responsibility. Like take responsibility for more than you think is actually your fault or your your wheelhouse. Take responsibility for more, because that will cause you to be self-reflective. Okay. So that will cause you to be self-reflective and get better and improve. So when you take responsibility, it actually gives you all your power back. You don't remain the victim who has no control or ability to do anything. If you have a victim mindset, you will not be successful in this business. If you are constantly saying, well, I would be more successful in this business if the company just did blah, 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 blah. I would be more successful in this business if my upline was better at blah, 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 or if they just did whatever. I would be more successful in this business if the industry, if this competing company, if this person didn't leave, if this person joined my team, whatever. Like, if you keep putting your success on somebody else, you will never, like, it will never be yours. Okay. So I want you to just like lovingly bring that all back to yourself. And that doesn't mean you have to like poop on yourself or shame yourself for mistakes that you've made. We all make mistakes, right? We all can look back and go, wow, I could have probably handled that a little bit better. Okay. So, what is holding you back? Our beliefs dictate our actions. So we behave based on what we believe. So what is holding you back? And your limiting beliefs, we had a call with Coach Jerry this morning, and he said something really good. He said, your limiting beliefs are showing up in the results that you don't want. So, for example, if your limiting belief is that no one comes to my events, okay, then you are probably continually inviting the people that keep telling you no. And those are the results you're getting. You're getting non-attendance, right? And your belief is people don't want to come to my events. So I want you to write down right now the belief. We did this morning. The belief I'm done carrying is, so imagine we were talking about moving today. Like when you move houses, right? You end up going through everything in your house and like throwing a bunch of stuff away and cleaning things out. I just cleaned out I just cleaned out my laundry room because I redid my laundry room. And I had so many old towels. I was like, what was I ever thinking? Like, what am I ever going to do with all these old towels? So I want you to think about your old beliefs right now. Like they are old, stinky towels stuffed in the back of your closet that you didn't even know they were up there. You didn't even remember they were there. And that's how it is with our beliefs. Sometimes they're these old, dusty rags that were like, I didn't even realize I was storing that in my closet. It was taking up precious space. So what I ended up doing, I cleaned out, I threw away well, actually I donated a bunch of towels to like the Humane Society and things like that. And you know what I did? I went out and I bought brand new fresh towels. And now I have a beautifully organized cabinet of fresh towels. So I want you to visualize your fresh beliefs, your new beliefs, like your fresh brand new towels. So if you guys want to put it in the chat, I don't know if I can see the chat. Like, hold on, I'm like very precariously balanced here. So I would love for you guys to write down the belief I'm done carrying is blah, blah, blah. So your old dusty towel belief, if you want to put it in the chat, I would love that, or just write it down. And then what belief would the boldest, most confident version of you believe in? I've done this, I've talked about this before, but a huge shift for me when I went from area manager to vice president to VP was that I started acting as if I was already a VP. So what would the VP version of you, because we all have that vision, right? Like, oh, when I'm a VP, I'm going to be, like I always said, when I'm a VP, I'm going to be the kind of person that goes to yoga early in the morning. I really thought that, like, oh, once I'm a VP, then I'll go to early morning yoga. And you know what I decided to start doing before I was a VP? I started to go to early morning yoga twice a week. I would love for you guys to write down. So, Whitney, what is the VP version of you? What is that, the belief that you have about yourself and your business? Laura, Karen, Bree, I'm just calling Daisy, like VP Daisy, what does she believe? What does she believe about herself? Okay. And then the belief I'm claiming today is ... and write that down. The belief I'm claiming today. So the results that you're getting is the thing that's holding you back. That's the thing that's holding you back. And you can find out what your beliefs are there. Okay. I'm going to tell you guys a quick story about this because I'll just share, honestly, one of the beliefs that I realized, one of the old dusty towel beliefs that I've been carrying around lately is that nobody wants to come to in-person events anymore. And I was talking to a dear friend of mine, ENVP Claire Rizzoli, and she said, oh, you should come to, you should come, we do events and you should invite people and blah, blah, blah. And I said to her, I'm embarrassed I'm sharing this with you guys, but I'm just telling you, like, we all have to do this. We all have to clean out our old dirty towels every once in a while, okay? And I actually said to her, Claire, I cannot get anybody to come to my events. Now, the truth is I haven't invited anybody to an event in probably 6 months, you guys, between you and me, okay? I haven't invited anyone to an in-person event in 6 months. And she said, you know what she said to me? I wanted her to join me down here on the bottom level with my dusty towel beliefs, okay? And she said to me, well, that's weird because people come to events with me all the time. I get tons of people to come to my events. And I was like, no shit, like, no way. And it was just, sorry for the language, but it was just such a reminder that like if somebody else, I had created a belief that everybody else is having the same problem I'm having, so we're all having the same problem, so it's not me, it's the problem, right? And the truth is I have a limiting belief around it, and hearing the evidence of the contrary truth was enough to snap me out of like my limited thinking. And I immediately went to back to that first thought that has always carried me through Arbonne. If she can do it, I can do it. And I thought, well, Claire's a cool girl. Like, she's a badass. But also, so am I. Like, people like to hang out with me too. And you know what? I bet I could get some people to come to my events if I put a little more effort into it and I was connecting with the right people. I bet they would come. Okay, maybe I should put more effort into my events and make them cool so that people want to come. Okay. So, yes. Okay, so limiting belief is that I won't be able to build a team and reach MVP. So, what would be a shift? What would be the VP version of you? Like something that you could believe that's true. So what about I'm growing into the person I need to be to attract the team that will help that will become a nation together. Does that feel more believable? Right? And then my belief is I have too much going on and I'm not finding the time. How about I make time for my priorities and Arbonne is a priority to me. What about, okay, I struggle to get people to respond to me on socials and via text. I feel ghosted and that they don't care. Okay, so the belief is they don't care. So what if the belief was, because you're not going to say people respond to me all the time because that doesn't feel true, right? But what may be true is I know that people are really busy and sometimes might not know how to respond to me or forget to respond to me. And it's my job to follow up and be interested in their lives so that they want to respond. But I know that it's not me, it's their busy lives, right? Um okay, I'm an ENVP in qualification. I love it always. Okay, so I want you guys to work on shifting those. Okay, then I have like a smattering of different people that I was like listening to and reading and whatnot today that I wanted to share with you guys the nuggets that really stuck with me. So do you ever feel like you're suffering in life or in business? Sometimes we're just like, there's so much suffering. I'm just really having a hard time. The suffering is real. Okay. I want to tell you guys. So, this is from Tony Robbins. He's like, do you know what causes all your suffering? And I was like, what? Tell me. I was like, tell me what creates all my suffering? He said, self-focus creates suffering. When we're only focused on ourselves, that's when we're suffering. When we're thinking about all the things we don't have, that all the things that we aren't, all the things we've lost, all, oh, woe is me, poor me, we're thinking about ourselves. Self-focus creates suffering, the nature of the human mind. So it's not your fault. You're not a selfish, horrible person. Neither am I. The nature of our human mind, what our human mind is designed to do is find what's wrong and fix it. And so we fixate on the things that are wrong with our life. He says, trade your expectations for appreciation and gratitude. And the number one way to get out of your self-focus is to go help somebody else, to go serve, be of service to somebody else. Now that can be of service with your Arbonne business. You can be of service by uplifting a teammate. You can be of service by sending somebody an encouraging message. You know what I find? People respond to me a lot more when I show love and attention, when I spend time and attention on them and their lives and show an interest in them, right? If I'm always just messaging people like, hey, you want to do my 30 days? Hey, you want to buy Fizz on sale? Hey, green synergy? Hey, whatever. And we're always coming from a place of what like me focused. Does that make sense, guys? Versus if you're interacting with people and you're supporting them and their lives and you're cheering them on and you're being encouraging and you're saying, hey, I just thought of you today, like whatever it is, focus on being of service to people. Yeah, go help someone else to get the focus off yourself. So think, how can I be of service today? Who can I serve today? And that's really like the crux of your Arbonne business is who can I serve today? How can I serve people? One of my favorite ways to get in conversation with people about Arbonne. So a lot of times when you're new or when you're getting started or even, years into the business and you're like, I don't know how to bring up Arbonne. I have new consultants say this all the time. I don't know how to bring up Arbonne. And I'm like, don't. What you're going to say, what you're going to do is be actually interested in them and their lives and find out what makes them tick, what their needs are. And then you say, oh, I think I might have something that could really help you. Enter Arbonne. And you're always coming from a place of, let me help you. I think I have something that could help you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Finding consistent. So going from suffering to joy, like how do we find consistent joy? If your joy is conditional on your life being together, right? Because how often are we like, you know what, I'll just be really happy when I get this house, or like when I'm making this much, or when I get this job, or I get this promotion, or I have that boyfriend, or like my boyfriend proposes, or whatever, like we have this contingent joy. If your joy is conditional on having all your ducks in a row or having everything you want or the specific things that you want, you're going to have very few moments of joy in your life. And it's actually not real, right? Like, so feeling joy based on certain conditions is not true joy. And I always think about this too. We only really promote 4 times in Arbonne. So they're like, when you're in the zone and you're going through the promotions and everything, it's very fun. It's very exciting. But I remember like most of the times I would go to the Arbonne meetings, I wasn't the one up front getting recognized because I wasn't promoting every single month, right? So what if I only showed up when I was getting recognized? Or what if I only was happy at those meetings when I was getting recognized for my accomplishments? Like, that doesn't really seem like a very good, it's like your children, if you're parents, right? And your kids are only happy if they get the candy they want or the whatever. It's a very immature way of going through life. And one thing that this business does is it really grows your maturity and your ability to handle the ups and downs of life. Okay. Because the truth is, most of life happens in the grind. Like, I was talking to somebody recently and they have kids in gymnastics, and there's a situation with the dad isn't in the picture too much. And he said, I'm not going to miss any more. I guess he said, like, I'm not going to miss any more meets. I'm going to be at every meet. And my friend was like, everybody comes to the big events. Everybody comes to the big events. That's not where the relationship happens. That's not where the meat of parenting happens. The meat of parenting happens in the daily grind that is not the big show, is not the big events. Like, everybody goes to the big events, big deal. That doesn't make you like a good parent just because you show up to the big things. A good parent is showing up every single day, waking up every single morning, waking up at night with the babies, like on repeat. Anyone who's a parent knows it's like a grind most of the time, right? And then you have these highlights of like, oh my gosh, they took their first step, or like, oh my gosh, they did this amazing thing. But most of it is the grind, right? And that's the same thing with our businesses, is you have these like highlights and these like nice pops, but if you're only happy in those nice pops, you're going to be really unhappy most of the time. So this is a whole other this is like a whole other conversation, but connecting your joy and to something more permanent. And there's only one thing that's really eternal and permanent. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, message me after the call and we'll chat. Okay. So, find the small things in life to be grateful for. Gratitude is not just an emotion, it's a choice and a practice to focus on the things to be grateful for. Choose gratefulness. You guys, I am talking to myself here because I wake up so many mornings where I'm like, oh my gosh, like things aren't going the way I want them to, or like this isn't right, or like, oh, whatever. And I have to shake myself sometimes because I wake up in a in a beautiful home. I wake up sometimes and I'm like, I wish I had a master bathroom. Like I don't have a master suite bathroom. I have to walk up 3 steps, go out my door, walk up 3 steps, go to the bathroom. Okay. So I could focus on the fact that like, I don't have a master suite, or the fact that I have a beautiful home in Southern California that I've been able to make some upgrades on. And, it's maybe it's not where like the ultimate where I want it to be. It's not as nice as somebody else's house, maybe, but like it's pretty dang awesome. Like there's a lot of other people that don't have what I have. So I need to stop whining and be grateful for the things I have. That's like not a great analogy, but it's just very, very easy to focus on the things that we don't have. That's our mind's natural thing. So don't feel bad if you naturally go there, but just start to notice it and go, this is like the natural cycle, and I'm going to choose differently. I'm going to choose different thoughts. Okay, there's 3 steps. Oh, feelings are really fickle. You guys know what fickle means? They change a lot. Feelings are really fickle. If you live by your emotions, your life will be a roller coaster. Have you guys ever had a friend that is on an emotional roller coaster because of like maybe who they're dating or their family or whatever's going on in their life, and they just take you on the ride with them, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a lot, you're crying with them, you're like laughing with it, it's like all over the place. So yeah, that will happen with consultants in your business too. And that's okay, but you don't have to get on the ride. You don't have to get on the ride with them. Okay. So if you have your life that are, seem to have a lot of drama, or like these really high highs, these really low lows, um, here's 3 steps to making progress and having peace for yourself. And this is like my mantra right now. Be thankful for what you have. Do your best. So do everything that you do with excellence. Do your best and take it one day at a time. And that was from Nick Vujicic, the guy. He was a speaker at one of our GTCs. He was born with no arms and no legs. And he's got an incredible story. But I just was like, you know what? At the beginning, I was like, take radical responsibility. Yes, take radical responsibility, and know what is in your circle of control and what's not. And a lot of times, other people's actions, other people's responses to you are not within your control. Now, we can always reflect and go, how could I have handled that better? How could I have, done better in that moment? But we can't control what other people are doing. And so whether they, respond to us, whether they say yes to us, whether they, whatever they do, join our company, join a different company, like whatever they're doing, we can't control that. But what we can control is we can be thankful for what we have, do our best. So represent Arbonne with excellence. Focus on your personal development, become the best version of yourself, and take it one day at a time. So what can I do today to be a better version of myself and move the needle a little bit forward? Newsflash, you're not going to promote to national vice president in one day. It doesn't happen. Any level of success in this business comes from a series of consistent choices and growth over time. And that's true for anything in life. Okay, this is the last thing. So how do you build belief in yourself? Because if you are struggling in Arbonne, there's one of 3 things that's gone wrong. You're lacking belief in the business or the company. Lacking belief in the business, lacking belief in the company, or lacking belief in yourself. 9 times out of 10, it's lacking belief in yourself. So that's the one I'm going to talk about. Okay. How do you build your belief in yourself? Now this, I was like, duh. Like I never thought about it this way, but makes perfect sense. We build our identity in community with each other. It's almost impossible. This is from Dr. Josh Axe. Okay. We build our identity in community. It's almost impossible to build identity by yourself. Think about it, because it's like you need other people to tell you about yourself, right? And that's just a human quality. The number one way to build your identity in a positive manner, because I'm sure we've all had people in our lives, maybe parents, maybe teachers when we were younger, that told us things about ourselves that were negative. Okay. And that becomes part of that becomes our mindset, right? That becomes our belief about ourselves. That becomes our identity, is what other people tell us. So the number one way to build your identity in a positive manner is to put yourself in a community of virtuous people. Do you guys know what virtuous means? It means people with high character who inspire you. That is the number one way to build a positive identity. So I want to congratulate all of you who are on this call tonight, listening to this call, building your identity in a positive manner. That's why we have these calls every week, so that we can pour into you, we can pour into each other and build our belief in ourselves. Build your belief in yourself. A lot of you might not have people in your life that believe in you. When I started my business, my mom, who loves me probably more than anybody on this planet, said, "What's wrong with you? Are you destitute or something?" Okay. She did not believe in me. She believed in me, but she did not believe that I could be successful in this business. She did not believe in this business. Yeah. Dad says, get a real job. Yeah. We've all talked to any VP. We've all had that from people closest to us, but some people have it even worse, right? And a lot of you might not have people in your life that believe in you. And so you have to go find that community yourself, and you've found it. This is the number one way to improve your self-belief and improve your life, is to have a community of high character, virtuous people that are going to encourage you to be the best version of yourself. You're not going to build your confidence or grow your identity without outward input. I'm going to say that again. You will not build your confidence or grow your identity without outward input, either from God or from a virtuous community. That's why these calls are so important. So I said from God. So if you don't have a community, which obviously you do, but what does God say about you? He says you're his precious child. He says you're a daughter of the king, or a son of the king if you're here. He says you have a purpose, and he put you here on this call, on this team, with this company for a reason. I saw Pastor Stephen Furtick had a little snippet of a thing today, and he said there's how many billion people? 8 billion people in the world. He said God has options, and he chose you for this time, this moment, this company, this team, this call. He chose you. So let's go. I had a few more notes, but I think that's all I was gonna, yeah, that's all I was gonna say. So that was kind of an awkward ending, sorry, but I love you guys, and thanks for tuning in tonight, and let's hold each other accountable to be the highest version of ourselves. And what are the 3 things we said? Be grateful for what we have. I'm so grateful for all of you. What were the 3 things? Hold on. Let me look back. I thought I had it memorized. Okay. Do your best. Execute everything with excellence. Do your best. And take it one day at a time. And you can lay your head down on the pillow tonight and feel good about what you did today. And we're going to wake up and do it again tomorrow. Okay. Love you guys. Have a great evening. That's all I got.